Hello, hello. Sandy from Doux Designs. Just a little bit off my game today. So, hey Rosie, hey Leslie. Hello, ladies. So, I was just waiting for comments to make sure I could do comments. So I had the guy that I wanted to work with tonight. I had him all cut out and ready to go, and I have lost him. So, unfortunately, we have to stamp him again and get him ready for tonight. Hi, Susie. Hi, Evelyn. So, what I'm going to do, I don't know where he went, but he's somewhere around here just jamming to his jukebox or his boom box, but he is not in my stash anywhere. So this is the guy we're going to color tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp him. So the good thing is if you weren't prepared and you have the stamp set and you'd like to color along, now is a great time for you to stamp yours as well. There we go. And I think I'm going to use Sending You Good Vibrations tonight because it just kind of goes with everything so well. So I'll just stamp that at the same time. That way we'll have the sentiment ready. Hey Tammy, hey Carol. I think I'm catching everybody as they're popping in. Thank you so much for joining me. So I'm going to use my Memento ink because it works best with my Copics. Here we go. Alright, so let's get this guy. We are going to have to fussy cut him out. I already had that done, but for some reason he has escaped from my desk. And I forgot to clean the stamp before I started, which I probably should have done, but didn't. And since this is the first time I've stamped him with the stamp set, because you know, since I own them, I have the digitals. I drew them, so, you know, I just printed a bunch of digitals and had those, but now we're using the stamp set. Hey, Janine. Hey, Drea. Welcome, welcome. As I was telling everyone, I lost my little guy that I already cut out and got ready somewhere in my craft room. We all know how that goes since I've been spending most of the evening preparing for the new release this weekend. I somehow, in the shuffle of all of the things I was working with today, lost him. So, that's okay though when you have the stamp set, because you can just simply stamp him again and you never completely lose him. So that's the good thing. And all of you saying hello to everyone. Y'all are so sweet to each other. Doesn't that just make you happy? Did anyone else stamp him out? I did give a heads up yesterday that we were going to use him. Is anybody going to color with me? You're probably super glad that I haven't started yet, so you can be in tune. Hey, Beth. All right, so this is the Urban Groove stamp set that we're working with tonight, and we are going to do this guy. He's going to be so much fun. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. Today's been one crazy busy day, but I have been getting everything ready for the new release. Do you guys like those little teasers Dale puts out there for you? Does it drive you crazy, or do you just love it? Just going to see if you can find him. Yes. I know. I looked everywhere, and then I just gave up and was like, nope, I don't have time to look around for him. I will just color him from the package and go with that. So tonight, I think I am choosing my markers right now. And I think I'm going to go with the traditional color that I usually use for skin tones. So E000, E00, E11, E21, E13, RV95. So you should be able to see it. You should be able to see it, the numbers as well on my desk. I'll put them right here so you can follow along. But we're going to start with the E000 to make sure we have the skin colored and everything. Oh, Evelyn, I'm glad you think it's awesome, the little sneaks. He's pretty good at that, so I just started letting him do it. Hey, Angela. So we're going to start just putting the E000 base coat on our guy here, wherever his bare skin is. So he's actually holding up his boom box. So we had to get his hand and his arm that's under the boom box. And then he's wearing pants, so he doesn't have any legs showing. But he does have chest. And then his ear. He has glasses on tonight, so we don't have to worry about eyes. All we have to worry about is glasses, which is a little bit of a different take on what we usually do, because not all of our images have glasses, so we'll be going over the glasses process tonight for sure. And then I'm also going to grab R11 for his cheeks, because we got to give him a little bit of color in his skin. So I'm going to go with R11. It's super light, and I just want a nice soft pink on his cheeks that will cover up with the other markers, so you won't really be able to see that, but I want it in there just in case. So there we go. All right. And I have options for you guys to help me out with when we get to the card, so I'm excited about that. I am flipping to Hey Melissa. RV95 is going to be next. I think I might be able to zoom in once more. There we go. That might be a little bit easier for those that are coloring with me. RV95 is what I'm going to do next. Oh, yay, you found him, Susie. Okay, so I'm going to put it, just this RV95, like around his hairline. And then I'm going to put it completely behind this piece of hair that's hanging down his face. A little bit under those glasses, inside his ear. And then I'm going to do just a little bit down his cheek, basically because he has the sideburns and stuff. And then right up here where his glasses are, I'm going to put just a little bit over there as well. And then I'm going to work on just under his neck a little bit, and then down this side. So he's got a lot of stuff blocking his light, so I'll put it underneath his hand, right where his thumb is over his hand, and then a couple of the little fingers, but not too much on that. Up here, it's up underneath the boom box, so just right up underneath there needs to have shadow. And then this hand that's laying by his side will have some as well. And then the inside, his hands, and his hands pointing down. So I'm going to go ahead and put some there. And there we go. Just a little bit for the shadow all over is super helpful. And you can use lots of different colors for shadow. We've been switching the colors out, so if you want to see more different skin tones, check out our YouTube channel. We have quite a bit out there now, being that the last couple of releases I've done, or the last couple of images and videos, I've done a different color skin tone every time. So you can practice those and choose what's best for you. Or we also have practice books in the shop for Copic, Ohuhu, and Olo that give you color combinations and samples to practice on for lots of things like skin and hair and clothes and food and trees, and just lots and lots of practice sheets for you. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out as well. You can get it in hardback, or you can get a soft copy in a book, or you can get the digital version and just print them out yourself. It's up to you. I've made it easy. You can do it either way, but it's super helpful. So if you want to bump up your knowledge of coloring and your practice, your practices, then check that out, because it's super helpful to learn from. So it's the way I learned to color, and then I built it based off of everything that I used, everything that I planned out when I was on my learning to color mission. And so I thought it would be helpful to you guys as well. So I built it for everyone. Some people already have it and they love it, so you can ask around if you have any questions about it. We're going to be doing a series on YouTube coming up soon where we color some of the practice sheets so that you can see the techniques that I use in coloring each one. So that will be really helpful for those who already have the book. So if you don't have it and you want to start those lessons, they will be announced soon but we'll be doing them on YouTube. So just stay tuned for more information. Susie says the practice sheets are awesome. Thank you. Susie's been doing a great job on hers. She said it's got 64 color combinations and it's always nice to have more combos to choose from. Yep, exactly. I didn't repeat any color combinations in the books at all. So, yep, you have lots and lots of options. And there'll be different, I don't know if we're going to do each marker combination in one video or if we'll do separate ones. Probably separate, because people who use different ones, they won't want to watch the other ones. So Tammy says she loves hers, and Leanne said, do you have Ohuhu practice sheets? Yes, I do. Sure do. I am fluent in Ohuhu and Olo and Copic. It's just that I do Copic most of the time because I'm a Copic girl. They're my favorite, but they all make beautiful, beautiful blends, and they all work really nicely. So, yep, we do. And you can get them digital, or if you like the little book and you want some of the additional information I have in the back about the markers that you choose, then order the book and you'll get all the additional details that are in the back of the book. They're not in the additional information is not in the digital. It's only in the book because it changes frequently, and I don't want to have to update update the digitals. So if they change, I'll update the book for printout purposes, but they're not included in the digital. So this is E11, and because there's so much shadow around here, I just finished off doing this arm with this color. But that's a personal preference. Angela says, glad I got the book. It's perfect all put together. Yes, it makes it easy. And do you have one handy, Dale, that I can just show real quick? Susie has the Ohuhu practice sheet. Sandy's included the new and old numbering system too. That's true. And Leanne said, digital doesn't like me so much. I have trouble printing. Well, you don't have to worry about that, because Here is, this is Dale's version. Yours won't have your name on it. His does because he went to the retreat. But it looks like this. It's in a little book. It's about, it's around 5 by 7-ish. On the back it says what brand you are. And then inside there are practice sheets. So on this side, they're blank, so you can make your own combinations. And on this side, I gave you the combinations. So he hasn't gotten that far on his book. The front of the book has all the marker numbers, so you can do a swatch. Huh? So he practiced the circles. These are his practices. The color combinations are already there, and then once you practice the one with the color combos, then you get to do your own. And then in the back of the book, this is the part that's not included in the digitals, our coloring techniques, all about Ohuhu markers, and then how the markers work together, and then the color sets and the coloring system. So a little bit extra detailed information, troubleshooting, and important information is also included, and I've included some tabs so you can build tabs in here if you want. So the book is really nice. It's a really great combination, and when you get the book you also get the digitals. So if you've already colored them and you want to practice some more, you can print out more copies of it. So you get both when you do the book. Hey Ellen, hey Reagan, welcome, welcome. So we're on the E11. I didn't do this arm yet, so we're going to go do this arm.
Reagan, I finally got my card. Thank you very much. Very cute. Love the dragons.
Yes, Dale got his card today. He handed me all the mail, and I said, "This one is yours." He was like, "It is?" Oh, yes. Ellen said, "We just pop from location to location." Yes, I know. It happens. E21 is just an extra additional color to make it appear a little bit darker skin. I only add this if I want the skin to be a little bit darker tone. We could have gone straight to the E00 after the last color, but I wanted him to, it's like he's outside and he's jamming with his boom box, so he'd be getting some sun. So I added the E21 to the combination. Since it has a slightly different tone, I'm just going to go over even the stuff that I already colored in, just to deepen it up a little bit. Hey Mama, hey Barbara. Hey everybody, thank you so much for popping on. I really, really appreciate you guys being here. If you guys are having fun, I will be over at Crafty Ho Ho after this tonight. We hop around. I think tonight is like Christmas night, so it'll be super fun, hence the Ho Ho. E00 is the last color, so I'm just blending those together, and then I'm going to do it down here as well. Just kind of fill in that last little bit. I'm going to do a little bit on his ear, and then I'm going to do a little bit down this arm, but like I said, the other arm is in shadow, so I don't really need this color on that arm. So that's it for that color combination. Reagan said, "Finally, it sure took the long way around." Yes, it did, but it finally made it, so that is excellent. I like it when it makes it to its destination. Okay, so this guy, I just see him with dark hair, so I'm going to do his hair fairly dark. I'm going to use a few different colors, I think. I'm going to use a bunch of the color families. Reagan said, "Thanks for sharing my YouTube channel earlier today. 16 more to go." I know, if you're a YouTuber and you're not following Reagan Zick, Z-I-C-K, you should go out there and follow her. She's trying to hit 1,000 followers, and she is only 16 away. So my friends, if you are not following her, make sure that you go do that. Susie said, I'm using different colors as I have an ATC background ready for him. Oh, nice. He needs dark hair with shoots of silver in it. What color did you use on the last skin tone color? I used, you mean this one that we just did? I used the E000, E00, E21, E11, E13, and RV95, and then I used R11 for the cheeks. Susie said I made my husband subscribe, Reagan. Yay! Okay, so for the hair, let's get our markers out for the hair. So we are going to use E49. Let's swatch this so we can see, because I'm not sure which order I want to do them in. So I know E49 because it's the darkest brown. That's going to be our shadow color. And I think it goes in this order, but we'll find out if it doesn't. So this is E29. Yep, like that. And then E59. Yep, a little bit lighter than 29. Yep, I was right. And then E39. So this is using all the nines. 49, 29, 59, 39. And then we're going to use, for highlight, E23. And so our hair is going to have a touch of red, a touch of the dark brown, and a touch of the light brown. So it's going to be a varied hairstyle. I have a video coming out tomorrow. I'll probably gain a few more followers from that. Excellent. Hello, Cheryl. We're doing great. We're coloring this guy up. We're about to start with his dark hair. So I'm going to do it up close to his face, and then I'm going to use the artist drawn lines to extend out from, just with this first color because it's so dark. I'm also going to go up over this one that's hanging on his face. And then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to do these ones right here. Also, his sideburns, they usually are darker than the rest of everybody's hair, so I'm just going to color those in to make it easy. And then right behind his ear is a little swatch of hair above his ponytail, and that would stay dark right there. And then I'm going to come out from the ponytail, because anytime your hair is in a ponytail where it's scrunched together, it's really dark. And then I'm not going to put it anywhere else, because we do have 5 colors we're going to use tonight. So I'm going to stop at this point. Now we're going to move to E29. 29 is going to be our next color. So this hair that's hanging down his face, I'm going to put a little bit down here at the end. And then I'm going to start going in between wherever I put the other color to start building that in. Just in between, not over top of the other color, just in between. And then I'm going to start coming from the back side, so over his ear, and then wherever these indentions are that I have here, plus maybe a few in between, maybe like 1 or 2. Here, there's another artist drawn line there. And then from here, we'll do 1 in between here. And then these we'll probably just do just the artist drawn line there. And then down here at the bottom, anything in between, so just a little bit there, and then right up against his shirt would have some shadow as well. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do one side of this little piece that's right there. And then I'm going to stop with that, with the E29, and we're going to move on to E59. Now we're going to start getting a little lighter. So we started off this, we've done these two. Now we're going to get a bit lighter, and then we're going to put in a little bit of that reddish brown tone. So E59, I'm going to extend with just very fine brush strokes. So hold your marker up as upright as you can. Mine's a little sideways because I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing, but if I were doing this at home by myself, I'd be holding my marker upright so that my brush strokes are skinnier and tinier. And then I'm going to start from the back side as well, but I'm going to do in between where I did marks before. So I'm kind of going around the last ones that I made. In between, and then down here, I'm just going to extend these a little bit more. I'm not going to do a whole lot with that, but I am going to start a little bit right up here on that curl. And then I'm going to move on to the next. Now this one's going to add that little bit of red. You could have left this out if you wanted his hair to just be brown and just went in with the E23. But I like that this has a slight reddish color to it. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to just go over top. Every so often I'm just going to brush this in because we're just adding almost like a highlight color to his hair. And we'll probably finish off that side that's by the boom box. And then I'm going to do the same thing coming from here. Just anywhere that there isn't anything colored on the outside of it or in between. And just keep going till we go down. Just leaving small area for the highlight color. And then this one, I'm going to try to go along the back side. If you can't do that, then just fill the whole thing in with the next color. If you've already done it, it's okay. It's just yours will look a little different than mine. Down here, I'm just filling in. I went from the bottom up and just filled in a little bit there. Now, I love this hair color. This is one of my favorite ones. When I'm doing brown hair. So E23 is going to be the last one, and what I'm going to do with this one is just brushing over wherever the white is. I'm not doing any blending at this point because I want to see all those brush strokes so that it looks like hair. That's kind of the key, is not blending it all together. And you could just leave the white if you wanted the whites to be highlights, but I don't do that very well. So then I'm going to touch right along there, and then we have hair. We have his hair all done. That wasn't too bad. You could probably do it with 3 markers. Just leave, just make sure you have a light, medium, and a dark. Let's see. There we go. So we have some, it looks like his hair's brushed back, so that is super cool. All right, so now I've chosen, I'll show you my paper pad. I've chosen this paper right here. So we can really choose any colors that we want, but I'm going to stick with a little bit with the green and the blue, and maybe throw in a red or an orange on the boom box. So that's my plan. I don't always have a plan, but that's my plan tonight. Before I move on to that, I'm going to do the soles of his shoes in brown, and I want them to be really dark, so I'm just going to do them all in E49. So I'm just going to go along the soles of his shoes and get those colored in completely in this E29. There we go. While I have it out. And while we have it out, we might as well do his belt too. We'll make his belt kind of match his shoes. So I'm going to do a little bit. Oh, Amber alert. Sorry, you guys. I can't do anything about that. Stop. All right. There we go. Sorry about that. When that goes off, I can't quiet it. I don't know how. I just panic. There's an Amber alert. Alright, so I just did a little bit with the E49 on his belt. And then I'm going to come in with the last two, and I'm going to do his shoes with that. So by last two, I mean the last two I used on his hair, which was E39 and E23. I'm going to use those on his shoes and his belt. I haven't decided. I might use it on his glasses too, but it's so close to his hair, I may not want to do that. So I want to keep this part right here darker, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, all that with the E39. And then I'm going to add just a little bit along the sole area of the shoe. And then we'll use the last color to finish it off. Oh, and we need to do his belt too. So I'm going to extend a little bit from his belt, just kind of filling most of that in because we're only going to use one more color. And I left those cross ones because those are the loops of his pants. So whatever color pants we give him, that's what we're going to color those loops with. You love that color for the hair? I do too. Now we're going to use E23 and we're going to finish off his belt. So we gave him a brown leather belt and some nice brown leather shoes. He's all cool and stuff. Even though he's going to be hanging out outside, he's the cool cat on the cruise, so we want to make sure we give him some nice cool glasses, shoes and belts and all that good stuff. I'm really tempted now. I think we really need to do his glasses, but I'm going to choose some colors from his skin tone and from his hair. So we're going to kind of mix a few colors and make them look like, I don't know what you call those glasses, but you know those glasses that are like have spots of dark brown, light brown, and then like a beige color kind of. You'll know what I mean when you get into it, but I'm going to use E59, which we used for the hair. I'm going to use the E23 that we also used for the hair. And then I'm going to use the E11 to give the lighter color. And just to make sure I don't go too dark on the glasses, I'm going to start with the tortoise shell. That's it, Reagan. Thank you. Tortoise shell glasses are what we're going to make his sunglasses. So just so I don't do it too dark, I'm going to go ahead and put in a little bit of this E11 like throughout the glasses so I don't fill the whole thing in and then be like, oh, I forgot about the light color. So this is just a trick to make sure you don't color too much in the dark before you're ready. It's just kind of a helpful prevention. So the same way I just put a few little, oh, I thought I could zoom it in further, but I can't. So it just has right now just a little bit on his glasses. You see that? And just like we did that, we're going to now do with the dark color. But not over top of any of the lighter colors. So we're going to build in some of this really dark color like right here. And you don't want to make them smooth. You want to kind of have spots and zigzaggy, like, you know, because it's never consistent how it looks. So I'm just adding a few little bits here and there. Kind of bring that sort of together. think I remember a hockey player that looked just like this. His name was Yarno. Huh. Interesting, Danielle. No, I don't even know that I would know who that was. I don't watch hockey. I'm not a sporty girl. I like sports when you go in real life. Like, I don't mind going to a football game or, something like that if I can see it for real, like a baseball game. But TV and following a team and stuff like that, that's not me. Maybe I had enough when I was a cheerleader. Okay, so with E23, we're going to just extend a little bit off of the darkest color that we did, kind of working our way into that light color we put on there. You have to do this one a little bit gently and probably with your marker upright so you can get really tiny areas colored in there. And now you can probably see why I put those light colors in there first so I wouldn't go too far with the dark color. So now we have a little bit of the light and the dark. And then we're going to go in with that really light color again and sort of blend them together. So over here, I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of back and forth real quick, and then I'm just going to work around the whole set of glasses. It's just going to kind of combine those colors together a little bit. Don't do an excessive amount of blending because you don't want to blend out those different colors that you put in there. But this will at least give it that really good look. And hold on, I'll hold it up close so you can really see. Because it's pretty cool how it works out. So you can definitely see that it's tortoise shell. He was on my high school ice hockey team, Norwegian exchange student, although his hair was never that neat. That's funny. Okay, so there we go. We have tortoiseshell glasses. And we've only used the hair color and the skin colors so far. Now it's time to pick up some of the other colors we're going to use. So I'm going to move these markers over to the side so I can pull them back out if I need them, but I don't think I will. And I think we're going to do his shirt in green. And I want to kind of stay with this green. So it has yellow green in it. It also has like almost like a mossy color. Let's see. How can we get that color? I think I know how. Geez, do I know how? I bet I know how. Okay, so what we're going to do is start with YG97. This is going to be like a mossy green. And then we're going to switch to G94, which goes back into more like a regular green versus the mossy green. And then I'm going to switch over to YG95. And let's see, I might need that one before the 93. Yeah, that'd probably be a better idea. So let's look at that one more time. This is the YG97. Then we'll do the YG95 because they kind of go together really nicely. Then we'll bring in the 94, which will change it up to a little bit more of this color green. And then let me check this YG90. Yep. Then we're going to use YG93, and we'll probably go over the 94 to kind of give us a new blend there towards the end, and I think that will match this really well. It looks like it goes pretty good, so I think that's where we're going to go with that color. So here we go. We're going to do his shirt in this color. So we're going to start with the YG97. There is one step darker, but I don't want to go that dark. YG97. So we're going to start with that one, and I'm going to do the outsides, the the stripes on his shirt just in this solid YG97. It'll stay darker than the rest of the shirt. And then up here where his collar's folded over, there'll be a little bit of shadow there. We're going to put that in. And then right behind it and down his shoulder a little bit. So we're going to put some there. And of course, because his boom box is covering up, we're going to put some all the way down there. I'm also going to put a light line right here where his shirt is like crossing over. And then he kind of looks like he has a little bit of a belly going on here. So we're going to give him that belly. He's got a little bit of love handle going on the side too. And that's okay. These little spots right here and under his arm. And that should get us enough of that dark color in there to do what we want it to do. So I'm going to move on to YG95. This is kind of the same tone. So I'm going to go ahead and do up here on his collar, kind of at the top of his collar on both sides. Then we're going to extend from where we put this first color here. Maybe do a little bit up under his arm there. We'll extend a little bit from here. And a little bit up from the bottom there. I'm going to outline his shirt. And then over here on this side, I'm going to extend a little bit further than what I did over there earlier. I'm not going to touch anything here. I don't think we really need to, but I am going to connect this a little bit right here where his shirt is. Just like that. Just a little bit in there. And then this artist drawn line, I think I'll go over that with this color. So that starts building it. This is going to brighten it up just a little bit. So this is the YG94. So I'm going to go from the top down. I'm not going to go over all the areas that I have the other green on them, but I am going to go over some of them because we'll go over everything with the last color. So I want this to be around the outside. So I'm just going to extend with this color. You probably noticed I left like a teeny white line right there. That's because I want that to be in the lighter color. So I kind of left a little spot there. On the sides, we're going to come in from each side. And this side. Just extending out a bit there. I'll do a little bit from this one, but really tiny brush strokes. And then I'm going to come down here and extend this little white area I put there. It's just a tiny, small accent that makes a big impact. Now we're going to blend it all together with YG93. I want his color to stay lighter at the bottom, so I'm going to do the blending backwards to keep the dark at the top and the light at the bottom. If I blended the other way, it wouldn't be as bright. So for this one, I'm just going to do a little back and forth to blend that up nicely. And it does. Blends very nicely. I'm going to go from here back and forth on his shirt. I'm really just going to that line right now. We'll do that other area here in a minute. So that kind of blends it all together and gives it a really nice green look. This is awesome how you have your camera up close so any new people are doing a new way of doing things. We can see it as you're doing that step. Oh, yeah, I do like it better. I agree. I'm so glad you guys like it. I'm going to go back and forth like this. And the feedback from everybody was to try to do it where I don't have my hand over what I'm coloring. So I try really hard not to do that. And then right here, we're going to do a little back and forth here as well. And then I'm going to take the very tip of my marker and just barely touch this little white line right here. Just enough to get the color in there, but not enough to fade it out. So I really like that. That's a really good shirt combination there, I think. And I think we did pretty good matching this up. So I'm super happy with that. Now, for his pants, I'm going to try to go with this. I know this is a really tealish blue, so ours may be a little bit darker, but I am going to try and do a bit of that teal to bring out that color. So when we do that, we need to use, we need to start with almost a blue jean material, and then we have to kind of switch gears and throw in some lighter colors. So let me show you what I have. We'll look at the swatch real quick. So if I were going to do jeans, I'd start with BG 99 or 97. This one is 97 because we want his pants to be more light than the 99. And then we're going to go with the 95, which is going to kind of lighten it up, but still a little more blue than this tealish color. So we have to switch and bring in more of a teal color. So we're going to pull in that B04. It's going to blend really nicely with that 95. It's very smooth, but it starts bringing it to that brighter color. For any highlights, we're going to add this B52. It's a little bit duller than the bright. It'll tone down a little bit of that bright for us, so that we won't be using a lot of that. But there, that kind of gets us to that blue, so that makes me happy. So we are going to settle with B97, 95, B04, and then we're going to throw in that B52 if we need it. So here we go. I'm going to start with the darkest color. And we're just going to, you love the color green? I like it too. I think it turned out really nice. This is definitely a mixing markers kind of thing that we're doing right now. So B97, I'm going to fill in a little bit of his pockets. And then I'm going to put a little bit on the underside of his belt loops. And then I kind of want to keep this center part of his pants a little bit darker, and then this area down the end of his leg, I want to show where his knee is, so I put those little lines there. It's the same thing on this side. There's already some artist lines there, but we'll enhance them a little bit. I'm going to come a little bit on the bottom of his pant legs. And then I'm going to come a little bit down here and up against this belt. We need a little bit of shadow under that belt. Alright, and that's all I'm going to put of this one. It's really dark, so I don't want to put too much in there. We'll do a lot more with this B95. So I'm going to start by extending anywhere that I put that other blue color. Any artist drawn lines. It's funny to say artist drawn lines when you drew them, but it's the best way to describe. I'm also going to do a little bit along that bottom of his pant leg. Notice I left his pocket alone. I don't want to do anything with the pocket yet. I don't want to draw attention to that area, so I'm just going to color that solidly in. We're going to extend out from the back of his pant legs here. And then we're going to go just a small fine line along the front of the pants and right there. So that's going to sort of get that base color in there. And then we're going to switch. Now this is the B04, so we know this is going to make it much, much brighter. So I'm going to do his belt loops, the 04. I'm also going to do this pocket. And then I'm going to extend from where I put this other color. I'm only going from that black line right there out because I'm leaving the outside of his pants darker. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, but I think that that back side's going to be just too big for us to not add a little. So I'm going to add a little coming from the black line towards the outside, just so I can tone that down just a tad. And then we're going to do from the other side, very tiny strokes here. We'll use the last color to blend that out. We're going to do the same thing from this side, and hopefully this is going to get us close to the color of that cassette. Sometimes it's not perfect, but I think we're getting there. So that's really, really bright compared to this one. This one is more toned down, which is why we're going to use the B52, because the B52 will tone that color down. So I'm going to go over the whole thing, blending only in the areas where there's white. So the blending right here, that's what I'm doing back and forth. But I'm also going to go over one sweep over the whole thing. So let's do that first back here. And then this way. And then we'll go along this line and just blend that in. Now we're going to do the same thing over here, so just a little bit, one sweep over top of the color to tone it down a little bit. Same thing from this side. And then I mix it together right here. And then that gives us a much closer look to this cassette than what we had before. See how much that toned it down? And made it on target. So I like that. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm definitely going to use these colors in the boombox to keep the boombox similar to what he's used to. I'm also going to need a little bit of black for the boombox. So I'm going to use 9, 7, and 6 in the C category for anything that I want to do on the boombox. I'm also going to add, I think, a little bit of maybe a orange. I think I'm going to go with like something in this orange area right here. So maybe the YR27 and 24. And let's see what we have with YR. I think 27 and 24 are going to do me good. I just want a little bit of that orange, not too much. So I think 2 colors is probably going to get me that shade that I want. So we'll have 2 orange colors. So let's start with the lightest blue, the B52, and let's do that just the whole little area right here where the equalizer or the numbers or whatever is right there. So I'm just going to make that one solid color. I think I'm also going to work a little bit inside this speaker. So notice I left the center alone. I'm going to give it a chance just while I'm talking to you for it to dry a little bit. And so when I go over it again, hopefully it'll deepen that color. So I'm going to go around this edge to kind of deepen that color up a little bit. Just like that. And then I'm going to very lightly brush over that centerpiece. You just want it to be a little bit darker around the edge. So I'm going to go over one more time while we're talking. Kind of deepen that up. And then I'm good with that. Now, since we definitely want to have some orange in here, but we don't want to have a whole lot of orange in here, let's go ahead and put the orangey color that we want in there. So I'm going to start with the orange. I want the orange to be around the boombox area, so around the speaker. So I'm going to put it at the bottom and a little bit at the top. And then I also want to make his cassette the orange. So I'm just kind of going around the outside a little bit. And while we're at it, maybe we'll just make those little press buttons or whatever you call them, the clickers, the same color. Made it home from my grocery run. Yay, Ellen! Our card is going to be super easy tonight, so we're spending a little bit more time with the coloring technique. So I'm going to just finish this out with the YR24, and then I'm also going to finish the cassette just like that. And then I'm going to do the top side of those buttons, so the top side's a little bit lighter than the bottom. And I'm good with that. I just wanted to get that color in before I start adding any black because it's pretty light. Let's add a little bit of the green to it as well. And I think I'm going to use the G94. It's going to be a crazy boombox, but we're going to do it anyway. So I'm going to do like this area right here. And then I'm going to do this area that's around the buttons. I just want to give them a really cool, flashy boombox. So trying to add a few of the colors everywhere. And then the buttons, like the knobs and buttons or whatever you want to call them, we're going to put some in there. And then I'm going to come back with the YG93 that we used on the shirt. And I'm going to fill in those areas that I started with this color. And you could really go all out on this boombox. You could even put designs on it and just anything you want. Alright, so we need some, is that all we have? All we have left is black. What other color did we use? Maybe we'll use some more orange. Let's use one more orange for one more thing. Let's use orange for this top panel right here. So we need a little bit more orange on there. So the bottom side I colored all in, and then I left kind of that top side that would get more light for the lighter color. Hi, Nicole. Welcome, welcome. So just finishing out that top piece right there with this lighter color orange. Gives us a little bit more orange in there. Now, we could make it a blue boombox, but I think I'm going to go with the black, just because the black boomboxes were always my favorite ones. So C9 is what we're going to start with. So we're going to do the outside. I also think it'll make the inside pop a little more with a dark color around it. I'm going to skip the inside here just for now to see if I want to make that a different color. Or if I think it needs to be black. So we're just going to play that part by ear. Going right along that area. Underneath that little knobby there. I definitely want the handle to be black. So I'm just doing around where his hand is. And then the underside. And I think I'm going to do this part right here too. I want those I'm going to fill in those centers of the cassette. So use the really tip of your marker for that. And then I'm going to come in, and you don't have to do it this detailed if you don't want to. You could make the boombox all one color. It's really entirely up to you, but I'm just showing you how you would do it if you wanted, you know, like different colors in your boombox. So I'm going to finish that side piece right there. up and down, and I'm going to leave just a little bit for that last color of black. We'll do a tad under here as well. And then we have, I think, C6 left. Yep, C6. And we're going to finish this part off, and then we're going to make our judgment call on whether we want that front panel to be black or whether we want it to be a different color. Just looking to see how this works out and what I need. I usually let the picture tell me what drives what I need. Yeah, I think it needs green. So we're going to go back to those two green colors we used, which were YG 93 and G94. So I'm going to use G94 first. I'm going to skip this little square because I'm going to make that blue. I'm just going to add a little more green in here. Right around the underside of that speaker, side of this speaker, and then right along the top. Then we'll fill in the rest with YG93, and we're almost there. All we have left are his glasses, and then we have to quickly fussy cut him out, which you guys know. I got that part. There we go. He's pretty easy to cut out, so I don't think it'll take us but a couple of minutes. Okay. I like that. I think I'm going to grab that B04 real quick and put that in here. It's such a tiny area that it's hard to see anyway, so I think the B04 was good. Now, all we have left are his glasses. 8-track player, I had avocado green. Oh, nice! A whole lot of black boom boxes? Yeah, me too. With faux wood grain fronts. Yes. And then you still have a boom box that has a little black and white TV on. Oh my goodness, that's cool. 8-track player, you had avocado green. Still gets used in bad weather and maybe at the lake. There you go. Exactly. Your boombox had detachable speakers. I remember those. You're fussy cutting them now, Susie, huh? Okay. I think what we're going to do is we're going to start doing his glasses real quick with this C6. So this is a pretty dark color. So I'm going to put it just at the top. And I would normally just pull lighter grays, but I want to use what we have. So I'm going to grab the E23 that we were using earlier for his hair, because I want to introduce a little bit of brown to those lenses. So I'm going to go over the black and then extend down a little bit. We will have to work that transition spot because it's a big jump from 6 to 23. So I'm just going to work that little line right there a little bit more, kind of smooth that up, get that transition. Same thing on this side. And then I'm going to come in with that E11 that we used earlier. And I'm going to start from the underside of his glasses and brush into that color. And we will have to work a little on that transition, but it's going to look cool, I think. So now I'm kind of working those two colors together. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Just kind of working those so they match together. So now the top part is pretty dark, and the bottom part has a lot of light for highlights. So I think that makes those glasses look super cool. So we have two things we haven't colored yet, and they need color. So I'm going to use the C6 for that. It's the light gray, and that's the belt, the little belt loop thingy, I'm going to make it this C6. And then his little hairband, we don't want to give him any like pink or anything, so I just used the C6 on that as well, and that gets him completely colored up. Now, isn't that awesome? I really like how it came out. I'm going to move all these markers so we can cut this out, and then we're going to put it on this card, which I think is going to be really cool. So hang with me. Don't go away yet. Let's zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to it's going to bug me, so I'm going to first cut out this little space right here. You don't have to unless it just annoys you like it annoys me. And I'm going to cut those two little areas out. So it really looks like a handle. You know, I mean, we want it to really look like a handle. So, and I'm using my little bitty self-healing mat. So now I'm just going to poke out those little spots that I cut. And then I just go to the back and I take them off. And then they're all cut out and they look really nice. I contemplated this one. I think I'm going to do it. It's a very, very tiny spot, so it won't show much, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I have one more spot, and this will just means that when we get ready to cut the outside, it'll go really super fast. So I'm going to cut in here as well. And again, you don't have to do this, but since I have a colored background, I don't want the white to stand out. So I usually cut it out. This is not my normal X-Acto knife. My regular one messed up. I got some new ones, but I haven't played with them yet, and every X-Acto knife performs a little differently, so I don't want to mess him up. I don't have to do it down here because I can do that with the scissors. So I'm going to grab my little Spellbinders scissors, and I'm just going to cut around the outside of my guy. I'm going to move the paper, not the scissors. And I'm going to go all the way around him. The only part that bugs me when I'm fussy cutting is when I have a whole bunch of this paper hanging out, what we call the little tails of the paper, like that, where it gets in my way. And so usually when I start something, I will just cut everything else off, so it goes a little bit easier. Going around the whole thing, I just kind of wiggle a little when I get to that hair so that it shows the movement in the hair. And then when I get to the boom box, I'll go over his hand. I'll just kind of wiggle there as well. And I just wiggle the paper and it cuts in a zigzaggy way. I won't wiggle the paper there because I want it to be straight. Or here. Around here. Then around his arm. And down his body is a little bit quicker and easier. I got more tails hanging on my paper now, which bugs me. But we're almost there. Almost. So shoes. Then we gotta go up in here. Up in here. Up in here. Just get that part right there cut out. And then around his shoe. And I need just a little bit thinner on that shoe area right there, otherwise his foot looks big. There we go. And there's only one spot right here. Since I X-Actoed everything else, I'm going to go ahead and cut this little piece out of here too. I just kind of rotate the paper around until I get that cut off. And it's pretty easy. And then I need to cut out the good vibrations. You can do it however you want. You could do it square. I like to kind of go around the letters a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. So I'll kind of come in here, go around the top one. When I have a bigger letter, I'll go up and around it, like with the S. Up and around. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just get it cut out so you can use it on the card. And see, now it looks like I just cut it out with the die, even though I didn't. It was super fast, pretty easy to do. Okay, so we have blue. We have two options. So I cut the paper already. I die cut the paper. So we're going to need a card base to go with this. So we can look at what colors we have. So I decided to use this die that I have from Whimsy. It's called Wonky. Something wonky. Wonky die number 1 or 2 or 3 or something. Anyway, you can get it at Whimsy Stamps. It's really cute and it cuts the stitching and I like it. So I cut the paper from the Boogie Downs paper pad that has all the cassettes on one side and all the flower stuff on the other, flower power on the back. So when it cuts out, it cuts the frame and it also cuts the inside. So we have two options because I cut the outside in gold and I cut it in the cassette tapes. So I couldn't decide if I wanted it to go like this. This is like paper piecing. There's only 4 pieces, so it's not that hard. But it's either going to go like this, or I think you can see the cassettes a little better if you do it like this. I don't know, I couldn't decide. So I cut them both so I could look at them and decide once I put him on top which one I liked better, or heck, maybe later I'll color him again and put him on the other side. I don't know. I may make 2. Who knows? So he would this would be him on the back. I like it with the cassettes. This one just has the cassettes on the outside, but it has him on the inside. I think I'm going to go with this one, but I have this one spare for anything else I want to do, but I like all the cassettes being behind him, so I think originally I cut it out with this paper because I thought I was going to want it on the outline, but then after I cut it, I was like, oh, but I want to see all the cassettes. So I cut it in gold as my outline. And then we'll have a sentiment to go on top of it. So I'm thinking that our paper behind it needs to be like blue, to go with the blue that we have in there. And I have a couple of blues. So this is more of a, like a regular blue. And then this one, I have a couple of options here. This one is more of a blue-green, which I don't think I like. Then this is a light blue, which I don't think I like. Let's try red. There is reddish orange in the background, so let's try a few brighter colors and see if they'll look better. So here's red. The red is kind of cool. This is more of like a poppy seed red, which kind of matches a little bit better with the cassettes. So maybe that one. And then my last thought was maybe an orangey color. This one's more like a rust. Oh, I like that. I think that's going to be it. I like the rust color. There we go. So that's how I pick my colors. Okay, you like the cassettes too. Yay! All right. Yeah, I will. Not to that part. Not to that point yet, honey. Thank you for the reminder. I am looking for my tool. You would think with the small desk I have that I would not lose stuff on it, but I lose stuff on it all the time. Here it is. I found it. Okay. So I'm just going to burnish that. Flip it over. We're definitely going to need something on the inside. Now I can't find my glue. Oh, here it is. There we go. Stamp. Always stamp your work. People want to know you did it. And then the easiest way to put this die together when you have different pieces is to put this piece on first. So I'm just going to run this Barely Art glue around the edge. I love this glue. It's my favorite glue. We sell it in the shop because it's my favorite and I need the refills. So I can keep refilling my glue. I know everybody has their own favorite. This is mine. I like it because I can use it in place of double-sided sticky tape on most projects. So I kind of get to use it for everything, and it's safe for photographs, so I can use it in my scrapbooking as well. If I slide this around and I get glue inside, it doesn't matter because we're gluing the other things inside of it. So that's great. Gonna run this across the back just to get a good hold. I love that. And then I think I'm going to put these deep down inside like that, but I think I'm gonna pop these two up because I think it will give it a little dimension. I mean, who doesn't like a little dimension on their card? Again, I put those scrap. Oh, don't you hate it when you're crafting and you can't find what you want? There they are. So these are all the excess pieces I have when I cut up those big sheets I have. So I like to use those when I do smaller things like this, just to use up the excess. You know, here's one. This is perfect. So I'm just going to stick this on here. If it was a girl, I'd put the flower power on the other side, but I'm just not sure I want it with the boy. I have another piece here, which will also work perfectly with this one. I think I need one more little piece inside there. So I have this one. I'll put this one in there. It's a little bit of work because you got to peel off all that stuff to use the excess, but who likes waste? I like to be able to use it all. Use it all. This one almost fits perfectly, so I just need to trim a little piece, and yes, I will keep that little piece as well. I'll put this one on there. I think it fits perfectly. And that'll make it easy for me to pop that one up. So I'm going to put it right here. Losing stuff is your specialty. Oh, yay. Everybody liked the rust too. Oh, good. And we all got on the same page on that. That's amazing. I love that. And then this one will go right here. Scooch over a little bit. There we go. And then I have to put these in there. but I'm just going to glue them straight in there, which this would actually look good even if you didn't put the papers in there, but I'm already committed. But you could actually cut this die twice and make several different images out of it if you didn't put all the pieces in there. And if I do the girl with it, then I can switch some of these pieces around and have cassettes and peace signs. That would be cool. Alright, and then I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to stick him on this side of my card. Right here, he is jamming out. I'm going to do a little bit of white gel pen on him too, but I think because the background has so much stuff on it, I'm not going to put any bling. Also, it's a guy, so I might not. Sometimes I don't bling up the guy stuff. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. This particular one, I feel like there's enough going on, and it's a glitter background, so that is completely enough, I think. So I'm going to grab my white gel pen now that I'm done. I want to put a little reflection, like a little bit at the top of his glasses, just a tad bit, and a little bit on his speaker, because it's fun, and I can. Put a little bit on this one, little knobby, and one on this little knob, maybe a little bit on his shoes, and maybe a tad bit so his belt looks a little bit shiny. And then let me show that to you up close, and then we will be all finished. So yeah, check him out. And now we have dimension on the card over here, and we have this really cool, I can't tell you how many times I've used this die. I really like this die. I've even made it into shaker windows and all kinds of stuff. I really like this die. It's from Whimsy. But I love how the card turned out. It turned out super nice. These stamps are amazing. I just love them. They're so versatile, and you can use it with so much stuff. But if you're excited, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time, I am going to do a sneak peek on the new release that will drop on Saturday. And I'm super excited about it. It's different than this. It's a shift, but I think that you guys are really gonna like it. I'm really stoked. And I can't wait to share with you. So we will definitely share it tomorrow at 5 Central. If you miss it, you can watch the replay, but I'd love for you to be there. And then we're going to have a release party on Saturday.
Facebook or
What?
the sneak peek?
I'm doing it on Facebook. We're going to have a release party on the Crafty Ho Ho YouTube channel on Saturday evening. So come over for that party, and there'll be giveaways and coloring and laughs and giggles and so much fun. So come join us. And do I need to say anything else, Dale? Did I miss anything? Okay, and then we'll have lives next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Central Time. We are going to be shifting a couple of our videos to YouTube, but that's to come in the future, so be on the lookout for that. Andrea just put the YouTube channel link on there for you for @CraftyHoHo, which we're there every night. I was going to say we'll be there later tonight. We're there every night. Or almost every night. But Saturday's the party, and it's at that same channel that Drea just posted for you guys. So come join us. Come hang out. And thank you so much for being here tonight. And I will see you at the sneak peek tomorrow, 5 p.m. right here on this YouTube channel. Bye. Have a great evening.